Hello, everyone. I see a doggy. It's the back of a doggy, but doggy.
Hi, Nicole. Hi, Tosi. Hi, Kate.
Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, all.
All right, welcome, everyone. As you come in, you can see the bit.ly there for the slides. And Laura shared it in the chat. And if you can just say hi and introduce yourself, your site, your district, role, or grade level in the chat. We know who we're hanging out with.
Hi, Moni. Yeah, Juliana from Bart. Yeah, it is Juliana from Barton. I was like, so let's ask that. Yay, hi, Juliana. Familiar faces tonight and names. Yes, and Nicole had entries last year from in the film festival as well, so she is a seasoned professional.
Yeah, and Monica Marino's with us, and she's entered a couple times too.
I think she's help us present.
I think she's on her third. I think that she's done every year so far. So
yeah.
Yep. Hi, welcome. Introduce yourself in the chat, and we've got a link to the slides in there as well. I feel like we need music right now, like something.
You could sing for us.
I could, but let's not.
Will's laughing. Maybe he could sing for us.
I want to hear Laura.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to sing right now. Yeah, it's a little early. Maybe at the end. We'll see how it goes. I'll save it. I'll save it for the end. The finale.
All right, let's go.
All right, we got Mike coming in.
Excellent.
Cool.
All right, so dropping in the chat, we have your slides for tonight, as well as kind of just introduce yourself in the chat, which I should probably do myself.
So if you're wondering who's who on here, you might see that I just renamed a bunch of us to either have MBQ or MCOE in front of our names. So if you need any support, you can private message any of those people here. So we're all kind of running the show. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Welcome, Perry.
Hey, Laura.
Good morning. Good morning. That is where we are at tonight, ladies and gentlemen. That is where we're at.
I love it. All right. Well, I'm going to introduce myself verbally since I'm starting this off. So my name is Jen Rogers. I'm with MCOE. I work for Celine. Did I just say MCOE? See what you did, Laura? You jinxed me. I am with MBQ. I do not work for MCOE. I work for Salinas Union High School District. I'm the Educational Technology Specialist, one of them. And we are here today to talk about how to prepare your kiddos and yourself to potentially facilitate a film festival or a film project in your class that your students could then submit to the film festival. So if you're just joining us, please introduce yourself in the chat, and their link for the slides is there as well, bit.ly/directors cut 2020. And I think we'll go ahead and get started. So the objectives for our little session here today is to kind of just understand what the film festival is all about, the history of it, what we do, what it's like, and explore the connection between this film festival, the video project that you can do with your kids, and how it connects to NGSS, the computer science standards, Common Core, literacy standards, project-based learning, and all of those things combined into one happy little neat package of beautiful film festival. And we're also going to do some collaboration with grade level bands and determine how you might teach this in a virtual setting. So that'll be interesting conversations to have. I'm looking forward to seeing all the ideas that you have. Oh, too far. Okay. So at this point in time, if you could, while the rest of us are introducing ourselves, if you can rename yourself based on the grade band that you want to participate in. But to do this, you click on your little picture, your video icon, whatever it is, and if you mouse over it, there'll be 3 dots on the top corner. And if you click on those 3 dots, you'll find something that says rename. So just rename yourself, keep your name there so we know who you are, but add your grade band to it so that it's K5, 6-8, or 9-12. And this will help us put you in breakout rooms connected to the grade levels that you work with. So if you're not one of those categories, like if you're a teacher on special assignment or administrator or whatever it might be, go ahead and pick which one that's your favorite or which one you feel like you can best support in. And like I said, I'm Jen Rogers with Monterey Bay Q, and I will pass it down the line to, let's go with Will because he's top on my screen.
All right, cool. Thank you, Jen. Will Franzel, I see a lot of familiar faces in the room. It's good to see you all. Happy new school year. I am the Educational Administrator of Science on the STEAM team at MCOE. And I'm super happy to be here with you all tonight because I think I was part of the original kind of behind the scenes with the Student Powered Film Festival when it started a few years ago. And I think it's just a fantastic project for students to work on. So I'm so happy to see that it's still going strong, and thanks for the invite tonight. And do you want me to pass it to the next person?
Yeah,
Jen?
let's popcorn this.
Okay, I will pass it to Rod. Go, Rod.
Right on. Hello, y'all. It's good to see some familiar faces. I'm Rod Garcia, also from MCOE, part of the STEAM team, now newly renamed Teaching and Learning team. And I'm responsible for computer science and digital learning. And today I'll talk a little bit about how accomplishing this project will actually satiate some standards, as well as some applications you could use for filmmaking. And I'll pass it over to Krista.
Hi, everybody. I'm Krista Bradley. I'm a member of the Monterey Bay Q board, and I'm also a 5th grade teacher at Mission Park Elementary. And this will hopefully be my 4th year that I enter my students' films in the film festival. So I have also participated each year, as some of you have as well. And I'm excited to chat with my K-5 people in the breakout room. Are we moving on? Jen, you want me to?
Yeah, if any of the other MBQ's members want to introduce themselves or not. They have MBQ in front of them, so it's up to them. Laura Carey is our moderator today. And we also have Mike Ocampo and Carrie Sabora with us, so they can also support you. All right, let's move on. So there's lots of different types of films that can be, let me actually go out of order here. That doesn't feel like a natural starting place for me. So one of the first things is, why would you want to participate in a film festival? Why would you want to have a video project with your students in your classroom? So on the student side of it, it's a project that they really own, and they can kind of self-pace themselves depending on how you set it up in your class, and there's prizes and incentives within the film festival. So there's monetary prizes that they can win, and also in things that are donated to us as well. And so if they place, they earn a prize. And I believe most years we've had for the top 5 that are chosen to display in the film festival, we also have prizes for them as well. And they really get a chance to learn from other projects as well, because if you're doing this as a class, they're usually getting feedback from their peers. And so everybody's got their little specialized topic that they're making their video about, so they're learning what the others are becoming experts in as they make their videos. And then as they go to the film festival, they see the films that are presented by their peers that they're, I guess, competing against, and they're learning from each other. And also, as they're preparing their film, they're probably looking at examples from other students as well, and so they're learning even more. On the teacher side of it, you're covering all kinds of standards and good pedagogy. It really kind of fits in nicely with distance learning because they are using tools they already have with the technology that their whole school is on right now. And it brings in that project-based learning, which just kind of actually in a way makes your teacher's life easier, which we'll talk a little bit more about project-based learning later. It also allows for a lot of scaffolding and individualized instruction as you're supporting the students, and it really empowers your students to take control of their learning. One of the best parts is how many standards and subjects you can cover with a video project like this. So if you're trying to, like, how do I cram all this into my time with digital distance learning? When we see what all kinds of things that you can cover with a video project like this, I'm like, oh, this is a great idea. And then together for both the teacher and the student, covers time, like it's something they can work on both synchronous and asynchronously. And it's all just good to support the knowledge of students and how to better save the planet and be good environmental citizens. So there's some examples on this slide, but we actually have all of our past films on our YouTube channel, which is linked in the slide deck as well. I'm going to show you a little bit of examples from our thing, but let me share computer sound. Okay. So I'm going to play the 6/8 one because it's short, and then I'll show you little clips from the other 2.
Energy is part of our everyday lives. Everywhere we look, we're constantly surrounded by it. Our phones, computers, clocks, lights, cars all rely on energy. We use energy in a faster rate than it can be produced. It is said that Americans waste over 100
Why is it buffering?
billion dollars on wasted energy. Energy has a big effect on us humans, and wasting it doesn't help it at all. Saving energy helps us keep resources in the world last longer. Conserving energy also avoids pollution. We only have a limited amount of energy in the world, and if we continue wasting energy, it will eventually run out. Stop and help by turning the lights off and unplug when all these are unnecessary.
Okay, so I have to take a little brag moment. That was actually my student from that year, and she was an English learner, so you heard a little bit of an accent there. But you can see, like, she put that together with Adobe Spark. She took all the video and just compiled little pieces together, and she did a great job. I was super proud. And we'll take just a little part of the. Yes, her Spanish showing off. I love it.
Crayons are beautiful. I use them for the color beautiful pictures. My favorite color is pink, but we have a problem. The fish sink is food. They get sick or
Okay, I don't know, it keeps buffering after a few seconds there, but you can see, I mean, how cute is she? And she's a kindergartner and was able to do it. So there's no excuses.
What is trash? Trash is any material that is thrown away and cannot be used after having been used once. It is matter like plastic or chip bags, styrofoam cups and plates, food wrappers, and so much more. These are the things that are hurting our environment, our ocean. Have you noticed how much trash we are generating lately? When you take out your trash every week, do you know where it ends up? What happens to it? We often believe that once we dispose our trash, it is taken to the landfills and won't affect the environment. However, trash can easily be blown away or spread to areas like beaches or forests, where it impacts the ecosystem and the animals negatively. Many animals die by mistaking trash for food.
So I don't want to take up too much time showing you these because you can watch them. But this was one of our first year high school winner. And she actually had gone to India in the summer and interviewed students just on her own before she even knew about the film festival. And she, she came back and had all this footage from interviewing people about the trash in India and was able to incorporate that in her project, which was super great. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pass it on to Will.
Great, thanks, Jen. So I wrote down some notes in my science notebook to kind of promote, the power of science notebooks with our students, especially during distance learning. And I'm going to encourage you, if you're not already using notebooks with your students, to think about how you could start incorporating that into your distance learning, teaching and learning. And if you want to take down some notes tonight, from the next couple slides, I'm going to be sharing some information about really kind of the big idea that I want everyone to walk away with. I wrote it in my science notebook here, is that every student can get involved to create their own student-powered film that is aligned to the next generation science standards. So to really be intentional about knowing, which kind of performance expectations are grade level specific that will support the learning that the student, like we mentioned in the beginning that Jen said when we had the Venn diagram. So it is really like kind of grade level appropriate, right? And so thinking about, what is grade level appropriate, with NGSS, with our K-5, it really does, this project supports the learning of what we can do right here at our homes, at our schools, in our community. So it starts kind of smaller, on a smaller scale, but then as you move to the middle school, it expands into the statewide, like what can we do in the state of California? And then as you move into high school, it becomes more nationwide and global. So to think about, what is appropriate as we watch those 3 video examples of, with the kindergartner, right? We probably wouldn't talk climate change with a kindergartner because that could be a bit overwhelming for a 5-year-old, right? But we want to lay a strong, scientific foundation. So that way, when that student reaches middle school, they have a deeper understanding and connection to the world around them. So I put a few links on here. And Jen, if you wouldn't mind just clicking on the first one. Yeah. So this is the NGSS hub for California. It's located at the San Diego County Office of Ed. And what you can do is if you click on the course models, if you would for me, Jen. I don't know how many of you in the room are aware of this, but let's start with K-5. So let's go, K-5, let's pick 3rd grade. And then the framework, description. So this will take you to kind of the overview of, what content is aligned to the NGSS. And depending on, which district you're in and school site, you may have not adopted NGSS aligned instructional materials. You may have curriculum that was aligned to the previous standards that were released in 1998. So, one thing I do want to make sure is clear as well is that the NGSS spirals. So some of these standards that students are introduced to in kindergarten will come back again, say in 3rd grade, like see the weather impacts. That's a kindergarten standard that comes back in 3rd grade and then again middle school and high school, right? So this project really does kind of support that student understanding of, again, what's happening, making sense of the world around us as climate change we are experiencing it now. And I think about all those students at home that have siblings that are different ages, and how much learning can happen, at different age levels, right? So siblings working together on this project, collecting data, doing research, that's age appropriate, right? So, and then again, if you go back to your slides, Jen, I don't want to go too fast, but I do have quite a bit to cover. The executive summary is something that I want everyone to be aware of, because this is a fantastic kind of one-pager for your grade level. So okay, let's say you're teaching language and literacy each day, and you see some science content in there. So if you scroll down, let's pick third grade again. So if we just kind of pick the middle, if you keep scrolling a little bit, you'll see that we'll get to third grade in a moment. A little bit more. Almost there. Yeah, keep going. Almost. Right, I'll tell you when to stop. Right there. So, this can show you, okay, what am I really going to focus on for teaching science that may already be part of the adopted instructional materials that's part of your language and literacy in elementary school, right? And so you think about, how can we take more of an integrated approach, right? So how can we really maybe even start with the science, kind of flip the schedule. I've heard a lot of teachers sharing success stories about putting science at the beginning of the day, and then integrating the language and literacy and the math and the social science and whatnot. And I think this project is a great way to really support student engagement and really lead with the science, right? So that's something I wanted to put on everyone's radar. And then Jen, if you wouldn't mind, if you could go back to the slides. And yeah, thank you. So these are the environmental principles and concepts, and these are now in ed code. So you may be aware, but we are all responsible in K-12 to teach about environmental literacy, right? So again, it may be in our instructional materials, maybe it's not. So if you have an administrator that's supporting you in this project, you can show that this project is aligned to the standards, right? It is aligned to NGSS. And these are called the EPs and Cs, Environmental Principles and Concepts. And it's part of the California Next Generation Science Standards. So again, they become more sophisticated as you move into middle school and high school, but you can see that these principles are part of our NGSS, and we are responsible for teaching it. Plus, I'm sure you're aware, all being educators in the room, that students really care about the world around them. They want to make a difference, right? They don't want to just read and write about it and be passive. They want to actually take action, right? And I think this project really helps with that kind of student agency, giving them a voice and knowing they can create change. Again, community, statewide, national, and globally, right? Depending on which grade level they're in. And then if we could go back to the slides, I put a little quote from, on Twitter, I follow NGSS, and every Friday they do a Friday framework quote. And if you want to just take a moment to read that quote to yourself, I thought that was pretty good. Thanks. I think it'll take you to the Twitter. I don't know. So again, science and engineering practices, it's not just, reading and writing about science, it's actually doing science, right? And scientists, we need to communicate, the data we're collecting, communicate our research. And this project, the Student Powered Film Festival, is a fantastic way to communicate what we found, right, while being out in the field. So that's something that, again, I encourage you to take a look at the framework, maybe start with the executive summary, especially because I know we're all really tired. Thanks again for being here tonight. But, start with kind of just reading your grade level specific science content, and then start looking how it's all connected, K-5, K-6, maybe middle school and high school. Okay, and I think I have a slide after this slide, Jen, if you wouldn't mind forwarding, advancing. Yeah. So then this slide here, what I did was I put some examples for you of some kind of the top resources that have been vetted for students that really do want to create change. Like we've worked with, I know Robin's in the room, with Salinas Union High School, with a young man named Mateos, who is an activist, and he's part of the Sunrise movement of Salinas. And some of the ideas that, talking with Mateos and his group, that they have researched come from Project Drawdown. So if you wouldn't mind clicking on that link there, Jen. This is a fantastic resource as far as kind of, putting the most urgent climate change issues in front of our students. And then again, not just putting the issues in front of them, but then also giving them some possible solutions to explore. So, again, if they wanted to really like dig into one of these areas, there already are some ideas for them, so they don't have to start from scratch, but then they can kind of build off those ideas and connect it to our local community. So we would call that like local phenomena that we're trying to explore and make sense of, right? And so, again, some of these that jump out at me are coastal and ocean sinks, right? But then I also see food, agriculture, and land use. If we put these in front of our students and have them kind of explore it, almost like on a choice board or hyperdocs, then, you kind of let them lead with their passion. And this, I think a big part of this really is about communicating effectively with our students and our families, and thinking about, again, how this isn't adding one more thing to our plate, right? This is really about an integrated approach, almost like a thematic approach, right? So thinking about how we could bring all our subject areas together to help them build off one another and help students kind of synthesize and go deeper, right? So this is a fantastic resource, Project Drawdown. And then the other two, I think that I put on there, if we go back to the slides, maybe, yeah, that one there. This is something that I know Rod and I have talked a lot about with the EPs and Cs. It's a matrix that's designed so you know kind of what to focus on for your grade level band. So if you're a K2 teacher, if you look just at that first column, it'll show you really what is age appropriate for our younger students, right? But if you're 3rd through 5th grade, you can see it becomes a bit more sophisticated and then moves up to middle school and high school. So as you're planning, to kind of roll this out with your students, this matrix can help with some of your lesson designs, right? And just thinking about almost your year, if we look at the, what you're planning on teaching, at least during distance learning, how this matrix can really help support environmental literacy with, teaching environmental literacy with our students. So that was another resource I wanted just to make sure you're aware of. And I think I had one more, and then I need to give you some time to process. Yeah, so this is just a page that I've put together. I think some of you that I've been working with for a few years now, I started out, I had like 6 buttons on there, and now it's exploded and there's, 50, right? And I'm always adding new ones. But again, since we've moved over to distance learning, I haven't really added many new ones recently. But why I want to show this page is because of the parent guide, right? So really communicating clearly with our parents, what are the next generation science standards? How does it look different than, say, how they may have learned and been taught science when they were in school? So, communicating that clearly with our parents, I think, is really important. And knowing that a project like the Student Powered Film Festival does really support NGSS instruction, right? That this kind of, I heard Jen say, the project-based learning approach definitely is more aligned than, the classic open up your textbook and let's turn to the page and read and write about science. They're actually out there doing the science. So I wanted to kind of finish up my part with just pointing out a few local resources. One of them, the obvious one, is the Monterey Bay Aquarium. I mean, they have designed, distance learning resources that are grade level appropriate, aligned to NGSS. And if you're not aware of that, it'd be something to explore beyond tonight, to think about, okay, how could I start incorporating some of this content into my lessons, and how might this support the Student Powered Film Festival? If students choose to do some research about, the ocean or whatever they're passionate about. And then the other one that I wanted to call out was, you see where it says California Parks Online Resources? Yeah, right there. Yeah, that's it. So this is the PORTS program, and they do some fantastic like virtual field trips. And just the way that they kind of communicate, I thought it might inspire students when they're filming to know like kind of some of the some of the tips on how to, create the content using their iPhone or their iPad or whatever medium they're using. So I wanted to call out those two specifically because they are definitely both those organizations are creating more resources that are appropriate for distance learning that are aligned to NGSS and support environmental literacy. Okay, so I gave you a lot. Hopefully you had a science notebook to write some things down, okay? But what I'm gonna ask you before I pass it back is maybe if you could use the chat and just like one takeaway from all that I just said, and I think it was about 10 minutes. If you could just give me some feedback on what was your takeaway from those resources and that quick connection to NGSS. Thanks, Ben. And again, the link to the slides, I think Laura put it in the chat so that you can access all these. I think I put some little notes that, kind of start here, then go here. So then tomorrow when you're looking at it fresh in the morning, hopefully, you know the steps to access this content. Nice. Awesome. Okay. Well, I'm going to pass it back to Jen. Oh, I think you're on mute.
Well, you guys actually want to hear me? We're going to do a quick poll. We were going to do it on Zoom, but it's not activated, so we'll just do it in the chat. So the question is, does your district have an adopted science curriculum? Yes or no?
Yes.
So if you just, you can answer audibly, that's cool too. You can answer in the chat.
Well, I was unmuted, so that's why I say yes. Someone unmuted me. But just like the kids have had the opportunity to speak, I'm going to do it.
There you go. It's you definitely teach elementary school and high school. It's like, I don't want to unmute.
Let me unmute my.
So we got yes, partially, yes, but it's outdated. I know the feeling. No. Okay. Cool, cool. Yes, refining and evolving by year by year. Excellent. As it always should be, right? Always evolving and refining. It's a never-ending process if we're doing it right. All right. If you have any more to add to that, you can go ahead and add it in the chat. And I'm going to pass it over to Rod. Take it away.
Right on. So I'll make this quick, but it'll be some good stuff here. So when I first heard of this project, I wasn't aware of it prior to me jumping on the team this year, but just watching the culmination of that video and the type of stuff that students are approaching with their culmination of that video, there's definitely computer science happening. And last year, computer science was adopted by the state of California. Generally, when people are thinking about computer science, they're thinking about coding or some sort of digital programming, right? But computer science, as you see here, that's only one aspect of the concepts that computer science covers. There's actually a lot of breadth to it, where there's computing systems, there's networks and internet, there's data analysis, and then the impacts of computing, which in correlation to this work would be the concept of computer science standards that would be most satiated by this project, because they're approaching a lot of the major themes of equity, breadth of application, just through the digital product that they're making. And so I wanted to point out, not necessarily the specific standards that you would cover, but just by approaching and finishing this project, there is a breadth of application across the computer science standards that are satiated. And it's not actually a standard without practices, right? So our 5 concepts here are the ones you see above, but there are also 7 practices associated with the computer science standards that really do develop that computational thinking, that network thinking to develop things in a digital space. And I wanted you all to know that while you will be satisfying other standards in content areas, you will be satisfying in a less explicit way a whole bunch of computer science standards that are vertically aligned K through 12 in the state of California across all of these concepts. And if you did want to dive in a little deeper into these standards, the bottom left-hand picture icon here is linked to that matrix there that does span the K through 12 concept areas and computer science practices. So I do encourage you to just browse that because you'll recognize very quickly that a lot of the skill sets developed by these standards are the ones that we need moving forward in this digital space. Next slide, please. And the next slide I have for you is, as I was thinking about this project and certain ways that students may or may not approach it, I was thinking of some of the applications for filmmaking that might be out there that can really help provide some variance for the different type of movies that our students want to make in a K through 12 band. I think the example that we saw initially was Adobe Spark that was being used there. And so I put down a few hyperlinks here. When you use this slide deck, I encourage you to click on these hyperlinks. It will take you to a tutorial of how to quick start on a lot of these applications. And it might provide some insight into the applications that you already use, but definitely a resource slide for parents to use in the event that they don't really know where to start and they don't know if they're going to move into animation or live film, whatever the case that may be. This would be a slide that would help that ordeal. And that's sort of what I have for you tonight. Please do this project. This project seems awesome. And just know that I know nobody's really been talking about computer science standards, but this project thematically will approach many computer science standards that when we do teach them explicitly would be easier to approach. And thank you. I'll pass that back over to MBQ.
All right, so if Will and Rod have not already convinced you that you will be covering a ton of standards by taking this project on, I just wanted to point out that you're also going to be hitting your Common Core Language Arts standards. So if you look at these are the anchor standards. We're talking about language, we're talking about informational text. They're going to be reaching those speaking and listening standards and also the writing standards as well, depending on how you approach it. Go to the next slide, please. Your ELD standards. So this is collaborative. It is interpretive, and they are producing a product, right? So no matter what band they're in, if they are emerging or bridging, we're going to be helping them move to that next level. Okay. Next slide, please. Not only language arts and ELD, but you are also hitting essentially all of the ISTE standards as well for students. All right, so I'm sure you guys have a lot of thoughts swimming in your head and you're wondering how the heck you can approach this. So these are just potential steps for how you can start implementing it. So this is backwards, but I'm gonna start with the teacher side, right? So first step, determine how you can make this fit with your curriculum, right? So I know for me, in February or March, we do our language arts unit on water, right? We have the benchmark curriculum. So I know that I'm gonna try to fit this in around that time and build the project around it. So think about how you can fit it into what you're already teaching. Identify the standards you plan to meet. Rod, Will, and myself, we've given you a ton of standards that you could potentially hit. And then you need to, this is the hardest part, I think, is creating your checkpoints and deadlines. You're going to need to check in with your students periodically, especially with distance learning, since we're not in the classroom with them. So make sure you have really clear checkpoints and deadlines. You're going to talk to teachers in your grade level band in just a minute, but you can talk about how long a project like this would take you. For my students, we spend 2 or 3 months on this project and it's well worth it. Okay, and then at that point, you're ready to get your student buy-in and start facilitating, because that really is the teacher's role in all of this, is being the facilitator. And then on the student side, these are their steps, right? They're going to identify a problem that they're passionate about. And this is where you hook them, where you get that buy-in. They get to pick the problem. They get to pick their project, right? Then they're going to do their research with your guidance, of course. Think of a potential solution, maybe, obviously with your guidance as well. And then bringing it all together and showcasing their expertise, which is the fun part, which is the film festival, hopefully. All right, next slide, please. All right, at this point, we're going to go to our breakout rooms. If you haven't already done so, just make sure you've renamed yourself depending on your grade level band. And if you're an administrator or a TOSA and you don't fit into one of these bands, you can just pick the one where you think you'll make the most impact. Bear with us, guys.
It's like apparently this is like our intermission song and dance to grab a quick glass of water. Mike's gonna tap dance for.
I heard Will might sing. I don't know. Might
I'm
be
still
time
thinking
for that.
about it. Yeah, it depends how the breakouts go. We'll see.
Will's an awesome singer. You should get him to sing. He sings all the time. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
I'm like, wait, were you at the last
I don't know these things.
head service party? I can't remember, Rod. Okay, yeah. Yeah, we
Oh,
should start
wow.
singing more.
I
We
just
gotta
threw it
encourage-
out there and you confirmed it. I've never heard you sing though.
It's recording. That's why I'm hesitating.
All right. Some of you all hold so still on your cameras. I was like, oh, they took a picture, so it's not supposed to start? No, wait, no, that's live. That's live. Okay, never mind.
So I hope she makes it in here.
Hi.
Hi, Jen.
Hope who makes it in here?
I have a student who is putting me up to this. She really wants to be part of this. And I said, well, then come to this meeting and figure it out.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's so great.
This is my kid, not my student. Well,
Hi, kid.
Too. I'm in an evening, sweetie.
So
All right.
Monica has been in it since the beginning. So she can give you lots of pointers, and I run the background so I can answer questions for you too.
Excellent. Well, I guess my kid didn't make it here. Sunrise and her dad, those were the
Oh,
kids.
Oh, you want me to? I can put Sunny in this room. I
Where
didn't.
is
I just
she?
put them in middle school because in elementary school. But let
Oh
me
no,
go
put
ahead
her
and
in middle school. Yeah, can you put her
Yeah.
in here?
Yeah,
Probably
Okay,
because
okay.
dad is a kinder teacher, so he probably got put with the lower.
yeah. I was just thinking Ben teaches kinder, and she ran and
There we go. We stole you
There we
guys
go.
back from
I
elementary
didn't
school.
realize Sunny was wanting to be in this group. So we're back.
Is that cool that we stole you from the elementary group and put you in here? Okay, excellent.
I just need to grab Sunny back. She just left. She's like, stuck in this group. I'm going to leave.
Oh.
We have an expert here. We have two experts here. Monica has been in the film festival, had students put things into the film festival several years. 4 years has it been going now?
Yeah, this is going to be our 4th year, so we've done 3 years.
What?
Oh no, why is it set to, no. Then what do I do? It says all breakout rooms will close in 30 seconds, 20 seconds.
You're the host, man. You're in charge. I don't know who,
But I don't know
who you
why
are,
it's
Krista.
so fast.
I don't know what you broke it.
No. Let me try to. I'm so sorry. I don't know why this went for so short. So let me try to fix this.
That you want to keep us on our toes.
I really want you guys to have good conversation and not a super short conversation. So let me fix this. It was 2 minutes. Let's not have a 2-minute breakout.
Oh gosh.
I'm sorry. And we'll give it 60 seconds.
Short and succinct.
I'm fixing it. Okay, go back to your rooms and have a good talk.
You're up.
Oh man.
Insights you have, there's Sunrise, hi. Any insights you have on, I was just asking, Monica has had students put films in the film festival before, so she's an expert, Sunrise. You can ask her anything.
Well, that's funny because if it were not for her dad, I would have never done anything. I was just telling him, he said the foundation of everything that I do, like the foundation, because I'm normally quiet and I don't like if there's a lot of people, I don't speak up. And even though I do the newscast with the kids, but it's actually her dad that gave me the foundation of editing, doceri, any of that, modeling lessons in the class with rubrics. So she has her expert right there.
That's great.
So what you might not know, so what Monica, Sunny is in an online science class, and so I don't know if you knew that Sunny has actually won 2 years. She didn't put a video in last year, but so this would be, if she does it this year again, this would be her 3rd year entering.
I remember she did the plastic the first year, and the second year it was on climate change, I believe. Yeah, and then she didn't enter last year because I was looking for her.
So I didn't realize you had entered this film festival. I knew you were into film, but I didn't know it was this festival. So you already know all about this.
Yeah, kind of.
Excellent.
But this year, maybe she can step it up and have a little bit of a different perspective on it now, right? Working with you, so.
Yeah, well, so our next unit is focused a lot about the environment. So that's what the next project. So that's where I thought you might get some foundation there. But this film preparation will continue beyond our class. So you're gonna have to invest some energy beyond this class, I think.
Yeah.
But you can start it out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know which subject to do. Like what
Your topic?
My topic yet though.
Yeah, that's what I was asking Monica. How do you get kids started, or even Jen? What do you recommend to get people started? That's the hard part, how do you pick a topic and get rolling?
I've just had them, like 2-3 months ahead of time, assign them, I tell them informative writing, I let them pick their topic. I go over the rubric for the film festival, so they know what to expect. We go over the website, and then I let them pick their topic, and then once they have their topic, I completely forget about the film and just focus on the writing. And
you've had a lot of different topics, Monica. I mean, there's been space trash, right? There's been food waste. There's been animal extinction, right? What are some other topics your students have done?
The girls that started the cleanup committee and the trash. I'm blanking out right now. My goodness. The media club in middle school. They did the one with plastic, was kind of along the lines of what Sunny did the year before. And they were talking about food waste. And because of that, our food, what's it called? What's her name? Irene Vargas's title.
Our director of like food resources or
Food
whatever.
services.
I don't even know.
She came to our school and piloted the share rack based on, because she said it stood out to her that the students said this is our future. So then she started listening to the students. She met with them, and we started a share rack in our school, and then they piloted 3 schools in the summer. And I think by the end, most of the schools had a share rack, but then, you know, the COVID happened. And she was about
And you
to.
guys did the reusable water bottle too, right? Didn't you get you helped get a reusable water station kind of from some of this stuff, if I'm correct?
Every film festival has had an outcome except this last one. So because of that, and I remember Ben was talking to one of my students, you guys should have a reusable fountain, and I put in the comments, that's my next project. So I try to have something come out of it every year, not just here's a film, what are we going to do about it now? And because of those girls started the cleanup committee 2 years ago, we never stopped doing that at recess. I would have volunteers, and you get a lot of kids volunteering that I have to give a limit, because then you have too many, you know, so it just motivates them. I let them pick their topic, and that's what it is. But you know, throughout the year when I'm doing ELA, how they were talking about the language arts standards, like right now I'm focusing on 6.1, you know, citing evidence, and I'm doing it with the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. We did that article. We did one on air pollution. So just putting it in the regular work, you know, throughout the year and spreading it out already gets their interest.
Yeah. That's a good idea, Sunrise. If there's a way for you to kind of expand this into some of the other disciplines that you're preparing, that you're studying, you know, it definitely fits the bill for a lot of language arts kinds of stuff.
Somebody gave her a suggestion of doing a blog, but you know, not every suggestion that comes from Dad is a good one.
Yeah.
Look
at that. You could be famous. You could have your own YouTube channel. You'd be amazing.
She has a YouTube channel, right? But I haven't seen her post in a while.
I don't know. I think she might want to post different things on her YouTube channel.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm embarrassing you. That's what dads are for.
When I think about one of the sources I go to, sometimes when I want to think about solutions, like there's so much out there that describes problems, and then I try to think of what's out there that's describing solutions. One of them that I go to is drawdown.org. Do you guys know that site? That's it's, forget the guy who put it together, but it's it's solutions to climate change. And what they've done is they've looked at, like, done scientific, you know, research and studies, and looked at all these different steps that we could take to solve some of the climate crisis. And they've actually determined like which ones would be most effective. And then some of them are like governments have to do this, but some of them are things that people could do, you know. But I think it's a good site. Yeah, drawdown.org. Yeah,
that was one of the ones that Will showed us.
Oh, we did? Oh,
I'm sorry.
Chat.
Oh, no, that's okay. We'll get you the link to the slides too, so you have all those.
Yeah. But anyway, there's there are, like, I try to guide students to sites like that are like more solution oriented rather than just this is the problem, you know. It's more like here's some solutions, you know.
That's what I tell the kids. What's the problem? What's causing it? And name a solution. And I think I actually got that from Sunny's first video because she had a solution.
Yeah.
So Sunny, you're the one inspiring me.
All right, this is gonna be great. Very excited.
So, Ms. Murphy, I'm gonna send you the link to the slides. You have all those. There's a bunch of hyperlinks in the slides as well.
Super.
Characters cut 2020. I felt like I was jinxing it by putting 2020 on there, but director's cut was taken already.
Oh yeah.
I feel like 2020 jinxes everything.
I know. Oh jeez.
So yeah, I'm not sure if you realize how blessed you are to have Sunny as a student. She's like a dream student. I would love to have her in class. Now she's really embarrassed.
We have 3 awesome students.
Good job embarrassing her.
I'd love to get all 3 of you guys working together on a project like this. Wouldn't that be cool?
All right, see you guys in the main room.
Yep. Bye.
Back, everyone. I hope you had as awesome of conversations as we did. So we are just going to close. Let me reshare my screen. We're just going to have some closing thoughts with a Slido here. So if you go to slido.com and put in the code W215, so just slido.com and W215, and in that, when you go there, it's going to ask you for 1 to 2 words. What excites you the most about participating in this project? And we're going to see a word cloud form, and you can answer as many times as you'd like to make our word cloud even bigger. And we should start to see the word cloud populating on this screen. Engagement for sure. Ooh, exclamation engagement. Inspiration, student excitement, collaboration, ed tech oriented leaders. I love it. Authentic learning, definitely. And that's so important for student ownership when they have that authentic learning. Creativity, thematic, collaboration, environmental literacy, student driven, rigor, passion learning. I love all of these. This is so great. Ownership, science, collaboration, creativity. Most definitely. 4 C's. Fun. Can always have to keep the fun in it. I love it. Awesome. Okay, so we are kind of at time, but we will stick around for a couple more minutes if you have any questions that you would like to ask us. And but before you leave, if you could fill out the feedback form, and then also give us your contact information so we can continue to support you through the process. And I'm going to go ahead and stop recording.
And we need to take a picture.
Oh, we need to take a picture. Okay, I got to let me stop recording before we take a picture.
Yeah, you got to go to the director's cut slide though, the one